Happy Wednesday. Welcome on into Let's Bet It. Lauren Javar here with Jared Smith. Jared, how are we doing today?
Rested a little bit. I was supposed to come back Thursday, but I'm back here today because I just can't get away from you guys. I love you so much.
my
First time
God.
doing a show since the Super Bowl, so I had to rock my new gear. Rams get it done for me, make me look somewhat smart. I wish the game was a little bit more elongated with the number that they won by, but the Cooper Cup MVP prop hit very nicely. Fun game, fun trip. Glad to be back home. How about you?
It is really nice to be back home. It is. I was like yesterday and Monday. Well, I flew back Monday, but I was dragging a little. I'm not going to lie. Dragging a little yesterday and Monday. But you know what? It's okay. I stopped at Starbucks this morning, got myself what I thought was an iced coffee. This is literally sugar in a cup. They could not have pumped more syrup.
It looks a little light. When you see, you want your coffee to be more this color, where it's a little darker.
Why is it so light?
I think because they put a lot of cream and other stuff in it. But you've got like an interesting batch. So you're in O-Town, right?
I can't even drink it.
The Hawks are in Orlando tonight, right? O-Town.
Yes, we are in Orlando.
Do you remember the band O-Town? Do you remember that? Remember that band?
What?
Remember the band O-Town?
No.
It was like a boy band. It was like a 98 Degrees like knockoff band back in the day. Because I want it all.
Nothing at all. Wait, that's that song? That's the band?
O-Town.
Oh, I love that song. Yeah. I know the song. I just don't know the band.
That's O-Town. Play it on your MP3 player tonight. You can.
I will. I'll make sure to break out the boombox and see let's off the boombox. Get some music playing. Okay, so before we get into the show today, question for you. I saw this on Twitter. A better placed 20 grand at BetMGM for the 49ers to win the Super Bowl next season. I know you said you have your thoughts on it, so I would love for you to break this down for me. Why?
Lauren, you consider yourself a spiritual person?
Yes, absolutely.
So I would say Aaron Rodgers is probably a spiritual person as well. And I think Aaron Rodgers for the last few years has probably been pretty frustrated with the Green Bay Packers. And he's looked at his buddies. Tom Brady goes from New England to Tampa Bay, wins a Super Bowl in his first year. Matthew Stafford goes from Detroit to the Rams, wins a Super Bowl in his first year. The last two Super Bowls have been won by quarterbacks playing on a team for the first time in their first year.
Yes.
I think Aaron Rodgers is going to try to make it 3 straight years. Where could he go? He could go to Denver. A lot of people saying that that's going to be the natural fit. But where is Aaron Rodgers from?
Ooh, California.
Who's the team that he grew up loving and watching? And who's the team that I would say is a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers away from being the best team in the NFL?
Yes.
San Francisco 49ers. Now, a lot of things have to probably happen for him to end up going to the Niners. But these bets that come in the day after the Super Bowl for 20 large, they tend to be bettors that have a little more knowledge, a little sharper than just some, local guy that's
calling Aaron Rodgers. Are they calling him up? I mean, like, hey, dude, like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you like? How do they have that edge?
Well, I don't necessarily think the guy who made the bet has inside info that Aaron Rodgers is going to the Niners, but I think the guy that made the bet is probably thinking Aaron Rodgers is a good landing spot for the Niners. And if the Niners get Aaron Rodgers, the Niners become the Super Bowl favorites. And that 16-1 turns into 6-1 overnight.
Mm-hmm.
The team that gets Aaron Rodgers, that's going to be it's February 16th. The next 3 months of the NFL, besides the draft, will be driven by where is Aaron Rodgers going to be playing next year. And probably right around June 1st-ish, based off of the roster configuration, is when we'll figure out this news. So buckle up. But the Niners, if they do get Aaron Rodgers, that would be a team I'd want to place my money on to win the Super Bowl next year. How about Debo, Kittle, Ayuk, Aaron Rodgers? Sounds pretty good to me.
That doesn't sound bad. That's all I got to say about that. Pretty interesting stuff. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where he does end up and kind of down these next couple of months here, how things transpire. It's going to be really, really interesting. So, yeah, Love to see it. All right, today, college basketball predictions. Some big games going on. One of them taking place between Baylor and Texas Tech. We're going to break it down for you. Jared goes dumpster diving. We have the Genesis Invitational. We're going to have Teddy Greenstein on from PointsBet to break that down a little bit and talk about his time at Waste Management this last weekend. We have NBA Morning Radar, 11 games on the slate tonight. Jared's kick picks. We're heading across the pond. And then we can't end without our Pickswise play of the day and our best bets today. So let's get right into it. College basketball, Baylor taking on Texas Tech. The first time these two teams played, Texas Tech pulled off the win over Baylor. They won because they didn't have turnover issues, and they held their own on the glass. Jared, what do you think is going to happen tonight in this game?
Yeah, line movement moving towards Texas Tech. And that maybe is a little bit surprising going from 1 to 2. Revenge spot, obviously, as you just mentioned, for Baylor. Lost the game at home in Waco to Tech a while ago. I mean, it was over a month ago. So these teams are very much different teams than they were over a month ago. Baylor's playing well, coming off that really nice win over Texas, beat up on Kansas State prior to that on the road. They've got a relatively easy couple of weeks here, so it's not really a look-ahead spot for Baylor. They'll face TCU this weekend, then Oklahoma State next week, then down the stretch, Kansas, Texas, Iowa State. That last week and a half or so will be very difficult for Baylor. On the other side for Texas Tech, this is really their week. They face Baylor and Texas this week, and then they finish the season with Oklahoma, TCU, Kansas State, Oklahoma State. So we'll learn a lot about Texas Tech this week. They're coming off a win over TCU. They got blasted by Oklahoma a couple of weeks ago. But to me, I would trust the movement here. Texas Tech at home has been good. They haven't actually lost a home game all season. Holy crap.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
They're like 16-0 at home. Yeah.
Wow, I just saw that.
Yeah. And they've only allowed 70 points more than one. Yeah. I know. I'm leading Texas Tech in this spot 100%. I haven't necessarily bet it yet, but at the same time, I know Baylor kind of seems to be finding their groove. Like you were saying, they won against Kansas State. They won against Texas. And that's because they were hitting a lot of inside shots. The defense was good. The team was strong on the boards. At home, this game is going to be about defense for Texas Tech, right? Like Baylor, I think they're missing. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I say this guy's name, I'm really bad at pronouncing it. Jonathan Chamwa Chachuk. Can you say that for me?
I don't even know, bro.
Yeah.
That's all you. You swore for the
Baylor.
fences with that one. I'm proud you even tried.
John, my boy Jonathan. But he's out for the rest of the season with a knee injury. So that's a huge part of their front court that's missing. He had 10 rebounds in the first meeting between the two teams. So Baylor's going to have to play a little bit of a smaller lineup in this game. That sucks. That's a really big injury for them going down the stretch here the rest of the season. Now, Texas Tech, I think they need to slow things down. They need to get out the three, keep Baylor from getting clean looks, get every single defensive rebound, because Baylor is killing teams with defensive rebounds lately. I think Texas Tech is going to find the extra defensive gear at home. Like you said, they were 16-0 at home, only 4-6 on the road, but they've only allowed more than 70 points once this season. It worries me a little bit that Texas Tech is a team that turns the ball over a lot, and Baylor's defense is really good at forcing mistakes, coming up with steals. I think Baylor's going to try to get on the move early, get the threes flying. I just think Texas Tech style, ball movement, defensive toughness is going to take over in the second half, and they're going to be able to cover the spread in this one. So I like them laying 2 in this spot. I would probably only play that up to 3 though, depending on the line movement.
That's fair. I would say the shooting and the turnovers for Texas Tech is what scares me the most. But they're a tough team. And even without Beard, he bolted for Texas. They're a really tough team. That Big 12 is a gauntlet. The ACC isn't quite what it was. I think the Big East has a couple of decent teams. The Big 10 is, I would say, a little bit down. The Big 12 is legit, and there's some really tough teams in that league. So it's a grind to have to go on the road and win, and that's what Baylor is going to be tasked with tonight. Tough spot in Lubbock tonight for the Bears, the defending champs. Sick 'em.
Another game that you're on, Massachusetts, the Minutemen taking on St. Bonaventure, the Bonnies. You love the Bonnies. How are you betting
on the Bonnies a lot?
Yeah.
We're going team total here. I haven't done a lot of team totals yet this season. It is a bet that in March I do like a lot because the numbers are sharp, and I get worried about the spreads being backdoored by some fluky, free throws or some weird stuff. So the team totals protect you from that. Once they go over, that's it. Doesn't matter what the other team does. If you hit your team total, you're in good shape. So we'll go Bonnie's over 79.5 tonight with the team total. They're coming off an 82-point game over SLU, St. Louis University, and SLU has
SLU.
I love SLU. So I used to work in the A10, so I've got all these little nicknames for all these teams. SLU, the Billikens. Do you know what a Billiken is? Ever heard of a Billiken?
Can you give me like a hint?
Technically, it's a cherub. It's like a demon. It's like a demonic.
Oh, that wasn't a hint. That was the answer.
But we would have. You're right. I did just kind of give it to you. It's like a little gremlin. I don't really know how to.
A little like guy on your shoulder or something.
Kind of. It's a very strange mascot name. Well, the Billikens, they have a much better defense than UMass does, and Bonnie's just dropped 82 on the Billikens the other day, and I think they're going to have a good night against UMass. So UMass defense, kind of bad. 332nd out of 358 teams in Division One in defense.
And then you also like Furman team total heading into tonight, yeah?
I do. Furman team total over 78.5 as well. They are facing Western Carolina. We're buying low on this Furman team. They're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country, but their last 3 games, they're shooting 25.9% from three. We were on them the other day against Chattanooga. They had a rough game. And I think they're going to bounce back against the Western Carolina defense, ranked 293rd in defensive efficiency. Furman won this game 88-50 just a few weeks ago. They made 21 threes in that game.
Wow.
So I really like my chances that Furman gets to 80 tonight. So it's just a couple of good offenses going up against a couple of bad defenses, and we just need the good offenses to get to 80. Furman and Bonnie's. Furman can get to 79 and we'll be okay, but 80 would be preferred.
I like it. So now heading down the stretch, Jared, we have about literally from tomorrow, a month before day 1 of March Madness. Yeah. That's crazy. And February is a short month too, so it's technically less than a month. Who do you think is going to be like who do you have your sights set on to win the whole thing right now?
I think Gonzaga is the best team in the country right now. Today, right now.
Right in this moment.
In this moment today.
Like a week and a half ago, we would have been like Auburn is the best team in the country right now, right in this moment.
I think Auburn is right there. I think that would be a great championship game because of the size of Auburn and Kessler and just their athleticism inside and how do they match up against Gonzaga's defense. Gonzaga's a cheat code on defense. Like, honestly, when I look at their numbers and I look at their 4 factors and I look at their shooting, it's a cheat code that they can run so fast and still be so efficient. They've got the second fastest tempo in the country and the second most efficient offense in the country. And they've got the best shooting offense in the country. They run at a pace that makes your head spin, but they are still efficient and they make shots. And that's because they've got Chet Holmgren and they've got Drew Timme who just run everything out of the middle. And it's an inside-out offense that runs at a frenetic NBA-like pace. It is impossible to stop. I think we will look back on this offense in a few years and be like, wow, this team was unbelievable. And they came so close last year to winning it all. So how can I not get the motivation angle with Gonzaga after losing in the Natty last year? So I think Gonzaga is the best team, but I think Auburn's right there. Those are my 2 best teams right now if I had to pick them. I
like it. All right, let's transfer to the courses because we had the Waste Management last weekend. And then this weekend, we're playing at Riviera Country Club, and I'm really looking forward to it. Let's bring in Teddy Greenstein. Yeah. Let's bring in Teddy Greenstein, senior editor for PointsBet Sportsbook. First of all, Teddy, what's up? Well, you look dapper today in your suit jacket.
I know. What's wrong with me here? I'm still
out of the water in our face.
It's been a couple of weeks. Hopefully, I have still a little bit of a tan from being in Arizona. Maybe
you look good. You look glowing.
Yes, you're glowing, Teddy. First of all, PointsBet now live in New York, so make sure to check out Pickswise.com, find the promos, and sign up offers for PointsBet. It's pretty exciting stuff for you guys. Are you excited about it?
I love it. New York's my home state. I grew up in Manhattan, so I love it. We also got in Pennsylvania. So 10 states down and 39 to go because I think Utah is going to be a tough one.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like
Utah's
39
gonna be a holdout, I
Last
think.
time I checked, there's 50 states, and those numbers just don't add up. But yeah, that totally makes sense.
Utah's, I think Utah might be the only state that doesn't ever adopt sports betting
That's
ever.
It's
the
just
one.
crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Okay, Teddy, before we get into golf, I want to know there was a big game this past weekend. I don't know if you've heard the LA Rams won the Super Bowl. So where did bettors mostly win money at PointsBet for the Super Bowl? Was it more
Yeah.
props? Was it more spread, total? How
Absolutely.
did people win money?
So, Lauren, the bettors did really well on Cooper Cup anytime touchdown. That was our most
Yeah.
bet on prop of the entire Super Bowl
What a
production.
surprise.
Yeah, I mean, it was minus 160, and for a second there, I saw it at minus 210. I was in disbelief.
Wow.
We all should have bet two-time anytime score. He's that good.
Would have been sweating that one out. That one was a sweat.
He's just an amazing player.
He is an amazing
I had him
player.
for MVP, so I had a good Sunday. And then the other one, we had a big bet. We had a gentleman, probably Jared, placed $240,000 on the Rams money line to win 120. So I think he was a big fan of that defensive holding call, that final drive.
Jared, was that you?
That was nuts. Lauren, you got a better view of it than I did.
It was awesome. It was so freaking awesome.
Right.
Like the best experience of my life. And that will probably never happen again. But you know what? I soaked it in.
Don't say that.
One and done, baby.
You're
One and done. Teddy, you were at Waste Management this weekend. How was Waste Management?
I was at Waste Management, although I was there early in the week. So my final day there was Friday. So I missed the ace on Saturday by Ryder and missed the ace on Sunday by Ortiz. But it's still, if you're a golf fan, you have to go. It's kind of like when I tell people maybe who aren't from here, like Las Vegas, you have to go. Like you have to see it. There's nothing else like it. So it was a great experience.
Love it.
Yeah. Do you think like golf tournaments need more of a party atmosphere like they have at Management? Because that is unlike anything else.
Yeah. I mean, you can't just like cultivate it. It's like trying to make a tweet go viral.
That wouldn't work at Augusta, I don't think.
Yeah. It wouldn't work too well at Augusta.
No.
Like, I think sports is great where you have like just different tournaments now. And you have some that are Wednesday to Saturday, and if when you have NFL championship weekend, do the Wednesday to Saturday. Maybe other ones can be 54 holes. Keep experimenting, but the Waste is one of a kind. And no, I don't think
the Waste.
I don't think we. Oh, well, that's what usually people call it. I mean, now
that's great. I've heard that. I love that.
It's like the best worst name for a tournament ever.
So you're right, Teddy. I think each kind of tournament takes on its own personality.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes golf unique is that every week the conditions, the greens, the fairways are different. Yes. And Riviera is certainly no different. A little bit of a different vibe this week. Yeah. So to me, it's one of the tougher tournaments of the year. And I was looking at some of the numbers last night, 51 courses that were played on the PGA Tour last year, and Genesis, the Riviera, ranks inside the top 5 toughest in these categories. Percentage of fairways hit, greens and reg, proximity to the hole, conversion percentage inside of 10 feet, and average distance of putts hole. Translation, it's tough to hit the fairways, it's tough to hit the greens, and it's tough to get the ball close to the pin.
Yeah.
That's kind of the game of golf, Teddy. Who are the players that are, suited to have a good week, considering these are going to be pretty tough conditions, you would think.
I mean, there are no gimmicks out there other than a bunker in the middle of the 6th green. Everything is going to be tough. This is basically like a major in February. Yeah. It's a really tough track. Exactly. The greens and regulation percentage is like 10% off a normal week. And Jared and Lauren, this is so interesting. 10 of the top 10 will be there, which is exceedingly rare for an event that is either not a major, the Players' Championship, or World Golf Championship. Yeah. This almost never happens in just a weekly PGA Tour event.
Cream of the crop.
Totally. I mean, you look at last week, right? A lot of big names finished in the top 10 in the Waste Management, with a lot of big names being in this kind of expect a similar outcome, or you think some dark horses have a good chance to maybe finish top 10 as well.
I like dork horses. I think that was pretty good.
Sounds like a beer. It sounds like a dark beer that I would get at like a German like brew house.
Exactly. I'd take, half.
Take a couple of pints of those.
Okay,
Yeah.
I speak for a living. It's totally fine. No worries.
Yeah, I
Don't
mean,
worry about
so
it.
if you want to look at the top of the board, it's the usual names. I mean, it's Rahm,
Yeah.
it's Cantlay, who just can't close. Interesting.
Yeah.
Can't lay up, can't close. JT's got to get the putting going. Now, DJ is an interesting play this week. Very, very popular.
Yeah.
He heated up at Riviera 14 times, 10 top 10s. So I don't know if it's like the LA swag or just the length on the par fives. He's also a really good like mid-range putter. That's one of the key stats this week. Like who's going to make those 6 to 10 footers to save par or make birdie. McIlroy and Morikawa, those guys are in, and we haven't seen much of them. So long shots I'm looking at, you guys hopefully saw Sahith Theegala, who is really suddenly one of the most popular players on tour.
He's like Willie Z from last year, just cranking out top 20s at an old.
He's the young guy, the young American who everybody is rooting for now. Different look, great attitude, cares so much. It was in the thick of things Sunday until about the final 4 or 5 holes. He's still 125 to 1.
He's going to win a tournament at some point this year, I think.
Check this out. Last week, he was the 3rd most bet upon golfer at PointsBet.
Wow.
That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Well, I know last year.
Really are.
Last year, Teddy, you picked Max Homa to win the Genesis, right? At plus 1,800, but you cashed out. Is there any chance you're picking him to win again?
Oh.
Yeah. So he was 60 to 1. Jack Harrison remembers this well, your producer, because I gave out that pick on the content we were doing. Jack was, I think, producing the content with Paige and me. So, last year I was looking at it. I'm like, all right, Homa had finished like 23rd. Then he finished 6th. He's an LA guy. Sure, it'd be a great story. And lo and behold, he's in the lead on Sunday. And I got $30 to win 1,800. And I am I'm outside the state of Illinois, so I'm on the phone with somebody, and we're dealing with a cash out issue. And Homa gets in the bunker on 17, and he's a shot back behind Finau, and I panicked. And I took a cash out of like $550 or $600. And then I don't know if you guys remember, Finau collapses.
Yep.
Homa hits it to 3 feet on 18. He's got that putt for the win, which he misses. So then I felt smart again. But then he won in the playoffs. So I called it, you guys know about FOMO. I called it FOGS.
I never heard of it, Teddy. What's FOMO, please?
Okay, well, here's my sports version of FOMO. FOGS. It's fear of getting shut out. And I didn't want to make that smart $30 bet and have nothing for it. So I got, $580 or whatever. But man, was I mad at myself for not hanging in there.
I think the biggest one when it comes to the cash outs, I get asked about my DMs are flooded with 2 things. One, who to bet on tonight, and should I cash out this parlay. Those are usually the DMs that I get in my box. To me, the cash outs, unless you're risking an amount of money that you don't want to lose, I always tell people just to let it ride. Yeah. And I know there's that like fear. You're right, that fear of getting shut out. But unless it's like $1,000 bet and you're like, I really don't want to lose, like protect that capital, you're paying the VIG twice. So you really have to be in a really strong position to want to cash out a bet.
No, what you want to do is you want to hedge. Like that's the smarter play.
Exactly.
So
because then you're not paying the VIG twice. 100%.
Exactly. So if then you can just bet on Finau, if you can in that scenario last year, just try to wait till Finau is whatever plus 250 or something. Throw some down on him. And that's actually what I did Sunday. Sunday was my best golf betting day of the year. I got Scheffler at 7 to 1 to start the round. And then he goes on that bogey train. So I bet Cantlay. So going into the playoff, I couldn't lose versus cashing out on Scheffler. Final comment here. I think Lauren's DMs look a little different from your DMs, Jared.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm just going to make that.
I would agree.
Don't make that statement now.
I don't even want to get into the trash that is – you want to talk? We talk a lot about dumpster diving here on the show with some of these college hoops conference bets that we make.
These are not charming male suitors who are
no, probably not.
There's a lot of people asking for feet pictures. It's weird.
Wow,
that does not surprise me in the least bit.
I don't get that one. Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't get it.
I don't understand, but if you can make a lot of money, I don't know. It might be worth it. Or taking pictures of somebody's feet. They don't have to be yours.
Yeah, how do they know it's even yours?
Guys, I gotta make my gambling money somehow. You know,
it's not an option for me, but you have that option.
You guys are so weird. Yo, guys, don't be so weird. Ask her for normal things like who's gonna win on in hockey tonight. Maybe
exactly. Yeah, Islanders. What's up, Jared? God. Come on, man. The Islanders last night.
Honestly, Teddy. So here's my theory on the Islanders. We can get into a little hockey before we get back into this NHL. I mean, before I get back into this PGA. They're such a good team. They've been in the Eastern Conference Finals 2 straight years, and they had this ridiculous start to the season with COVID and all this other stuff. And I know that they're a good team, but they are just snake bitten this year. They
I don't care about the Islanders after busting your chops. Let's get back to golf.
Fair enough.
Back to golf. Bubba Watson, Teddy, has won this event 3 times. How do you feel about him heading into this weekend? I love
he's
Bubba.
Just playing great.
I want to have a beer with the dude. Like he seems like such a cool dude.
I like Bubba a ton. I covered golf a lot. He was always good to me. So I always root for Bubba. He's an emotional guy. He kind of puts it all out there. He just did a book recently. But anyway, you're not asking about all that stuff.
He just did a book recently.
Well, he just did a book. He talked about like anxiety and weight loss.
He's a lefty. I like that.
Yeah, if you want a fuller view of Bubba. But I mean, what we know about him, of course, is he's a fascinating player. He never hits it straight. I mean, it's hooks and draws and slices and fades. He's an absolute artist. And he played great at the waste management. He was, sort of on the fringes of being a factor and absolutely crushes it at Riviera. So he's not somebody I'm playing this week, but he's somebody you always have to think about in LA.
Someone you are playing this week and someone who I'm playing this week too. Our picks kind of align here. I know you like Matthew Fitzpatrick a lot. You like him as the low Englishman. I like him in a matchup over Sam Burns. Top 6 at Pebble, top 10 at Waste, top 5 last year at Riviera. Listen, he could be the best player on tour that hasn't won yet. He leads the tour in strokes gained, 2nd in approach, 6th in tee to green. Yeah. And Burns missed the cut 2 straight years. Missed the cut in his last 2 events, Yeah. So I think he's a little bit on the downslope. So I've got Fitzpatrick over Burns, but you've got him a little bit more aggressively in your picks this week.
Well, I got to say, I was hunting around at different odds last night, and I'm like, how do I, bet on Matt Fitzpatrick? And I noticed PointsBet has him at plus 140 as low Englishman, and one of our competitors had him at minus 110.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's pretty good, right? And so Fitzpatrick, he has to beat 3 guys. He has to beat Paul Casey, Aaron Rye, and Matt Wallace. Paul Casey is certainly formidable, has had good results at Genesis, but Fitzpatrick is as you mentioned, Jared, he's playing great and tied for 5th year last year.
Yeah. I know another thing you're betting is Kevin Na to finish top 20, more like Kevin Ya. Tell me why.
Wow, that was Kevin Ya just really has the short game, maybe the best putter on tour, a really good demeanor. And you want to talk about somebody who knows these greens? This is his 19th time playing this event.
Wow.
So super solid. And, because the field is so stacked, the odds on guys like this are great. So you can get Kevin on a top 20 at plus 270.
Wow, I like that.
Thomas Pieters on your list as well. Not a guy that popped for me, but I can be sold, Teddy. Sell me on Thomas Pieters.
So I've been following this guy ever since he was an NCAA champion at the University of Illinois, had an amazing 26 Ryder Cup, went 4-1 for Europe. And, then his game suffered. He's super intense. He gets really angry. I once saw him snap his driver over his knee at Augusta National.
I've done that once or twice too, so it's fine.
Injury. Yeah.
Bar of the PGA Tour.
Yeah, there's some injuries. There's been some stuff, but he's back now. He's won twice in the last 4 months. He finished 2nd in this event in 2017. So got a beautiful swing, really good player, and great odds here at 80-1.
Yeah.
Last one for me before we go. Tony Finau, runner-up in the Genesis twice. Can he finally make this year his year?
Yeah, I'm looking at it, Lauren. He's 50-1. I mean, he's so far down compared to past years when he was last year. He was top 5 Tony, top 10 Tony. not really getting it done this year. Haven't examined him much, but I will stay away from.
Yeah, I was on him
Tony, who I otherwise love. I don't know. We put this on social media. I asked him for a Super Bowl pick. He's a charming guy and all that, but don't love the golf game at the moment.
Yeah.
He is a nice guy. I have a friend that works with him out in Utah. Really nice guy, but got his butt kicked at Waste last week. Didn't have a great tournament.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It happens. Teddy, we so appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. And make sure everyone, PointsBet is now live in New York. I know we have a lot of New York viewers. Check out some of the promos that we have with PointsBet at Pickswise.com. Teddy, thank you. Have a great week. We really appreciate your time.
And for anybody watching, direct message me, DM me at Teddy Greenstein if you want to know about our best possible sign-up offers.
Yes.
Love being with you guys as always.
Yes, hit him up.
Yeah, DM Teddy, don't DM me.
Yeah, that's right. Slide into mine.
Stay away from my DMs. Everyone go to Teddy's DMs.
Go slide into Teddy. We don't want to deal with you guys anymore.
Teddy, thank you.
Bye.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Slide into Teddy's DMs.
Get the hell out of my DM. I get some bad ones.
Oh
like this guy sent me like a CVS receipt yesterday with like one pick yet left. He's like, "Do I cash out?" The bet was for like $5. I'm like, "Bro, do whatever you want." Like,
that's hilarious. Yeah, that's great. All right, let's take it to the NBA basketball floor. 11 games on the slate tonight. Yeah, I have a question really quick because obviously the Nuggets are taking on the Warriors. It's a big game tonight, a big West Coast game. A few days ago, Nuggets president of basketball operations said that Jamal Murray could be physically cleared to play soon, which would be huge for the Nuggets, right? He's been out since tearing his ACL against the Warriors last April. So if he comes back before the playoffs, is this the guy that immediately puts Nuggets into title contention, or are they still, too far behind the Warriors, the Suns, the Jazz? Like, how much does Jamal Murray change the story for the Nuggets?
He definitely changes the story. I mean, there was a time in the bubble where the Nuggets look like the best team in the NBA with Murray and Jokic, and now they have Aaron Gordon. They're hovering around that spot in the top 6 right now. Clippers, Lakers are lurking a few games back. T-Wolves probably don't have the credentials just yet, the street cred to get into that top 6 in the West, but the Lakers and the Clippers certainly do. So, they've been underachieving with their records this year. Both the Lakers. Yeah. I mean, see, to me, that's the crazy part. We were talking about this before the show. In the Western Conference right now, it's the Suns, it's the Warriors, then it's the Grizzlies and the Jazz in the top 4. Lakers and the Clippers are perennial Western Conference Finals contenders. They're not even in the top 6.
Yeah, the Lakers have a chance of missing this year. It's crazy.
It is.
I don't think
Western
I don't think they're trying to let that happen. But yeah.
It's not what it used to be. The East is deeper. The East is stronger. I was actually thinking about making a bet last night, a very small bet, but I thought maybe this has a little bit of value. I was going to do a parlay with the Western Conference champ, Phoenix Suns, at 2-1, and the Eastern Conference champ, Miami Heat, at around 5-6 to 1. And that parlay would have paid 18 to 1.
Wow. That's great. Why not? Sprinkle it in there.
To me, that's like a fun little parlay that I think if I had to pick a team in the East right now, it would be the Heat. Mm-hmm. We can talk about the merits of the Sixers, and I'm not as high on them as some of our producers are about the situation with James Harden. I'm very low on the Nets. I think the Bucks are probably the toughest contender right now. I think that'll be the Eastern Conference Final, Bucks and Heat, depending on how the seedings play out. I can't predict that now. Once we see the bracket, we'll have a much better view of it. But I think I'm getting close to the time of the year where I can say this is the best team in the East. This is the best team in the West. This is who has the most value in each conference. Not a lot of value in the West. I think it'll be the Suns or the Warriors, and both of those teams are 2-1. If I had to pick right now, I pick the Suns because they're going to have home court most likely because they're 5 games up in the standings. And I think the Suns, after losing in the finals last year, are going to make it back again this year. In the East, a little more of a crapshoot. Very hard to predict the East this year. Very difficult. A lot of moving parts there and some very good teams.
You look at some of the games tonight. There's 11 games on the slate. We've seen some movement. You look at the Detroit-Boston game. Boston on the second half of a back-to-back. They have won 9 straight games. Quietly won 9 straight games, 11 of their last 12 games. They're on a tear right now. We've seen that total go up from 214 to 216. Why? Because they're on the well, I know they crushed the 76ers last night, but Boston's on second half of a back-to-back.
Very hard to predict the NBA this week. This is the last week before the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
Players are probably thinking about a 4 or 5 day break. Players are probably thinking about the final stretch of the season. We're at the point in the season where the games start to matter a little bit more.
They matter a lot more.
Yeah, 50, 60 games in. The stretch run over the course of March and early April will be much, I don't want to say easier to handicap, but the variables will be less in flux because these games matter. There's 20, 30 games left in the season. The urgency, the intensity matters. And when you know guys are all in, that's why hockey's, in my opinion, one of the easier sports to handicap because you're going to get max effort from guys most nights.
Absolutely.
And in the NBA tonight and tomorrow before the All-Star break, I do not know who's going to be giving us max effort. So I would be careful with the NBA over the next 2 nights. No bets for me tonight. If I had to play it, we were talking pregame about this Knicks game. The Patty Mills props look like they have a little bit of value. The assist prop, points and assists in that category or so. But I am very torn on the NBA tonight. I just don't see a lot of value with these pre-All-Star games. Very difficult.
Yeah, it's tough. It really is tough because it's hard for as much as the games matter. I know it's hard for people to concentrate. It's like the last game of before you get 4, 5, 6 days off. So it has to be tough as a player to be able to concentrate on games like that. But there is a little bit of line movement going on besides the Detroit-Boston game. Jared, where else are you seeing some heavy movement?
There is some movement with this Knicks-Nets game. It goes from 5 to 3.5. The Knicks were actually favored, which I would be a little hard-pressed to lay points with the Knicks right now. I don't care who they're playing. They just lost to the Thunder the other night.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on the Nets as an underdog tonight. Seeing a little bit of total movement in Indiana. Wiz and Pacers goes from 224 to 225.5. I don't mind that. I know the Wiz have been a high-tempo team this year. Pacers now, as they kind of retooled their lineup a little bit. I think that could be an interesting one with Halliburton. Has Halliburton started to play a little bit with the Pacers, right?
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, so that I think that Pacers offense has got some room to the upside, considering he's a really good scorer and he's a really good facilitator. It looks like we're seeing a little bit of movement to the under with the Kings Bulls total, 233.5 to now I'm seeing 232.5. Nothing significant there though. Spurs in OKC tonight go from 6.5. It looks like 7.5 across the board. And then a line flip in Minneapolis. You had the T-Wolves open as a -1. Now the Raps on the road are a -1. So just a little bit of a line flip there. I would say the Raptors certainly look like the sharper side. Not a ton elsewhere. You did mention that Detroit Celtics, the Pistons Celtics total did go up about a point and a half. But for the most part, pretty calm line movement night in the NBA. Nothing significant more than a point or two.
Yeah, this will be the last game or two that the teams have before the All-Star break heading into this weekend. So definitely something to keep in mind and look out for when you are betting some of these games. All right, let's take it across the pond, Jared, because you're bringing us back with some picks. Champions League, you got.
Yeah, let's talk Inter Liverpool. I'm going to bet Liverpool on the money line, plus 110. Liverpool unbeaten in 8 straight competitions across the EPL. And of course, their other they play like tournaments. They were in the FA Cup, et cetera, et cetera. And I just think the EPL is better than Serie A. I think if I'm handicapping the Champions League, you have to handicap the clubs, but you also have to handicap the leagues that they play in because they're not playing light competition. Serie A, Inter's playing a lot of different levels than what Liverpool's playing. The top of the EPL is immensely better than the top of Serie A. So when I look at the top teams in both of those leagues, Inter and Liverpool certainly amongst them, I always lean towards the EPL. You saw what Man City did to Sporting yesterday. Goodness gracious. They just scored a few more goals. It was unbelievable. 5-0 all over Man City, just destroyed Sporting yesterday. And I think Sporting is not on the level in the Portuguese league that Inter is in Serie A, but I don't care where this match is played. They could play this match on the moon. Liverpool with Mane and Salah are going to be running circles around Inter, and they're without one of their star midfielders, Nicolo Barella, who was on a red card. So already Liverpool had an advantage, I think, controlling the midfield, and now one of the best, ball controllers in the midfield for Inter is out. So this match is on foreign soil in Milan, but I would be, actually, I don't know where Inter plays. I think they play in Milan. Maybe they play somewhere else. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's in Italy.
It sounds right.
Jack says Milan. And Liverpool's going to win. Bayern and Salzburg. So this is a tough match. So Bayern's coming off of a miserable loss to a really bad Bundesliga team, Bochum. And I think that's bad news for Salzburg because now they're pissed off. Bayern is already good enough, and now they're pissed off because they're coming off of a bad loss where they gave up a bunch of goals to a bad Bundesliga team. And I think Salzburg's team from Austria, open league in Austria, very free-flowing, a lot of goals. And I think at home, they're going to score one. I think they're going to get one on Bayern. But I think Bayern's going to end up winning this match pretty handily. Last 2 times these 2 teams played was last year. 6-2, 3-1 were the finals. Bayern won both. I could see that latter score, 3-1, being more of a closely related game here. So I'll go Bayern money line parlayed with both teams to score. It's plus 140.
I like it. I've actually
3-1 Bayern final.
Yeah, I really like it. I'm tailing that. I'm going to actually bet it right after the show is done. Jared Smith. Love it. Okay, Pickswise.com, 3-star, play of the day. Who we got?
We've got the Blazers tonight on the road in Memphis. Philip Tomic has this one. Check out the handicap. They're getting a big number, catching 12. Find out why on Pickswise.com.
Pickswise.com. That's the only place you can see it. So check it out. Our best bets of the day. I'll let you go first. We're both taking it to the ice. You like Calgary in the.
Yeah, I'll mention this too before I give this out. We did not talk about hockey today, but there's another game that neither of us are picking. Unless you are. Are you picking the Avs? The Avs?
No, I'm not.
You're not. I want to mention that it's Jack Eichel's first game tonight for Vegas. That's important. He's facing Colorado. It's going to be a good game.
Avs coming off of a big loss against the Stars. It's like that was their biggest loss at home since like October.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. They lost 4-1.
And I saw a line flip there. Vegas was favored last night, and now Rado's favored. Probably
Rado on the second half of a back-to-back.
Tough game.
Interesting.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that one. I just wanted to mention it. I'm not betting it, but I'll have my eye on Rado and Vegas later tonight. I am betting the Ducks and the Flames. I'm betting the Flames on the 3-way money line. I got minus 115. So Calgary just destroyed Columbus last night, and it was the front end of a back-to-back. And they had their backup goalie in net, which means Jacob Markstrom goes tonight, plus 11.5 goals saved above expected. One of the better net minders in the league. He got the night off. He will play tonight. And the Flames are scorching hot. 7 straight wins. They're 11-4-4 at home this year. And they've allowed the fewest goals at home in the entire NHL. They are legit. Wow. And the Ducks average on the road. And this is a tough road trip for the Ducks. So the Isles just did this, and they lost both games in regulation. But you go from Calgary to Edmonton. So tonight, Anaheim is in Calgary. Tomorrow night, front end of a back-to-back. Tomorrow night, they have to go to Edmonton to face the Oilers. Very tough back-to-back. I think the Flames get another big win at home. We're going on them 3-way money line, minus 115.
I like it. Scorching. Yeah. Calgary, red hot. Another team that I want to talk about, me and Alex Glaze love our Ice Cats. Love us some Ice Cats. They're playing against the Carolina Hurricanes tonight. I actually like the Panthers money line in this one at plus 100. I love that it's a plus money number for the Panthers because there's not often that you're going to find them as an underdog like that. The Panthers last game, they lost by 3 goals. When they lose by at least 3 goals, they have been very good at bouncing back. They've won 7 of the last 9 times that has happened. The Ice Cats have also won 8 of the last 9 against opponents with winning record. They're riding a 4-game win streak following a break of at least 3 days. Just watch me spitting out these stats, Jared. That is not great news for the Canes, who are also on a cold streak right now. They've dropped 3 of the last 4 games. They're also 3-9 in their last 12 games against teams with a winning percentage above 600. They're riding a 3-game skid right now against the Panthers. The Panthers are the top of the league in most goals scored per game, 4.09 goals per game. And the Canes first in the league in goals conceded at 2.37. So the Panthers are going to need to find a way to break them down. I think that they're going to be able to do that. They have a bad taste in their mouth after having a bad loss. And I think they're going to come out red hot. Ice Cats, let's go.
Tough game. This is like the two best teams, I think, maybe in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, right now for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. It's going to be
Florida
really, really
Carolina.
fun.
Analytically, the analytics love Carolina. Frederick Anderson leads the league in goals saved above expected. And overall, if you look at the power rankings, Florida is second, Carolina is sixth in terms of the analytics. Calgary is actually first. That is
actually really surprising.
Very surprising. I talk about my most trusted hockey source all the time. He was giving me some Olympic hockey picks. He texted me the other night. I'll read the text. I got to go through some of the Star Wars stuff because we were talking about.
Oh my god.
We were talking about.
To be honest, I've never seen a Star Wars movie in my life.
I've
never seen a single Star Wars movie.
That really hurts right there. That was like a cut. That was like a deep cut.
Sorry.
I like this Flames team's good sleeper value out west. Every time I watch them, I love them more. And obviously tonight we love them a lot, but in general, is this and I know where your heart is with the Avs, but this Flames team right now is 100-1 to, or that's the President's Trophy. Excuse me. I'll say that number's wrong. This Flames team right now is 20-1 to win the Stanley Cup.
I mean, they could be a good like outside sleeper pick, but to be honest with you, I think there's other teams that have more depth, is what I would say, to be able to get through a Stanley Cup playoff run, as in the Avs, as in the Ice Cats, as in the Hurricanes. Like I know out of the West, obviously, but I mean, Vegas, like there's other teams that have a lot more depth, I think, that would have a better chance, obviously, of winning. But if you wanted a good, like, outside pick to sprinkle something
that's what I'm saying. It's definitely not the favorite. There's a reason why they're not the favorite. The Avs are the favorite. Then the Vegas Golden Knights are the second favorite in the West. And
the biggest thing is the goaltending. You have to look at the goaltending duo, and are they strong enough to be able to get through?
Jacob Martin, he's got good numbers this year.
Yeah.
Not great numbers.
You need two goaltenders, not just one.
In the playoffs?
Yeah. Really? Well, last couple of years, they had back-to-backs in the playoffs, which has never happened before. But it's like, I don't think it's going to happen this year. But we'll see. It'll be very interesting to see how things play out down the stretch. That's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to Pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Jared Smith. I'm Lauren Jabara. Best of luck tonight, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's get it. Let's bet it.